I literally threw across the room because I hated it so damn much. The amount of minutes I've just spent trying to get my hair to look halfway presentable is tragic, and it still looks like I've been electrocuted, so love that for me. And it's also super dark, so I'm having a great time. But hello, hi, yes, we are back with another end of the year video, and this video is going to be on my worst books of 2019. And I actually didn't read too many terrible books this year, which is a nice change. I think last year in 2018 I've read a lot of books I didn't like, and I think that really helped me learn my taste for 2019. And so while I did read quite a lot of mediocre books this year, I was really able to kind of see what books would just not work out for me, that I just wouldn't like because of certain tropes, whatever. I just knew that I wouldn't like them, so for the most part I managed to avoid like 1-star books, but I did read a few, I think like 7 or 8. So we are gonna get started. I don't know if I'll do this in order of how much I hated them, maybe. I think this video will be kind of short because all I have to say about them is they suck. So, wow, will we get a video under 20 minutes? Let's not get too crazy, who knows? Maybe I can shut up. Has it happened before? No. I've just realised I've never shut up in my life, so you know. So the book I hated the least, and I actually did give 2 stars, was The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I read this book because it was a classic sci-fi, and I kind of wanted to read a classic sci-fi because I thought it would be fun. I was wrong. This basically follows this man who builds a time machine and goes to this weird place where there's these weird like alien things who then like steal his time machine, and then he can't get back to where he was, and it just sucked. Like, I give it 2 stars because I do respect like what it did for the sci-fi genre, and I do love sci-fi as a genre, so like I can respect what that like did for the genre, and that like I enjoyed that aspect of like knowing kind of like the roots of the sci-fi genre. But it was just painful. Like, it was like 100 and something pages, and I can read like 100 pages in one sitting, but this literally took me days to finish because it was so painful to read. And the main gripe I had with it is basically the man has come back to present time and is telling the story to his like group of, you know, white dudes, and so at no point did I feel any danger because there were like dangerous situations, but we knew he came back because he starts off alive telling the story. So like there was just no like tension because I just knew he was alive. So like, and I wasn't like, oh, he might die, because we knew he was back at home telling the story to his bunch of white dudes. So like, where was the fear? There was none. So yeah, I just didn't think the plot was dumb. He just knew stuff he shouldn't know. It was all just like dumb. So I didn't enjoy it at all. To be fair, it was written in like 1875 or something like that, so you know, I'll forgive it, but like, don't read it. It was so boring and stupid. Then I guess it's all a tie for first place. I've just realised that I hated all of these books. The next book I hated was, I don't know, kind of controversial, and that's Call Me By Your Name by, I don't know his name. But yeah, I hated Call Me By Your Name. I did enjoy the movie, like that was like an enjoyable watch, but the book I hated. This follows our main character Elio, and he is in, are they in France or Italy? I don't remember. They're in France or Italy, somewhere in Europe, for the summer, and his father like takes on a student because he's like an architect or something. Not an architect, an archaeologist. Is that what he does? It doesn't matter. He takes on a student for whatever job he does. I've blocked it all out, can you tell? And basically this follows like their summer and them like falling in love, but it takes place in, I want to say like the 70s, so being gay wasn't exactly okay. But I hated the writing of this so much. I hated this so much that I had 40 minutes left of the audiobook and I physically couldn't finish it because every time I turned it on, I either fell asleep or wanted to claw my own ears out. I just hated it so much. I just hated the writing. It was like a stream of consciousness, which I usually don't mind too much. Like, it's not my favourite style of writing, but it doesn't usually like bother me to the extent that this bothered me. But I was just so confused. I didn't think, like, we hopped around in time and we hopped around in, it was just so confusing. And seeing as it wasn't really much of a plot, how it was so confusing, I don't know, but he made it so confusing, and it was just, I just hated it. It was boring, it was confusing, it was, I feel, amateur writing. Like, it felt like it hadn't been edited. Like, he just like wrote it and then published it and like no one else read it. I just hated it. Basically, I hated it. I genuinely could not finish it. So that's, I mean, if that isn't like enough to show you how much I hated it, then what is? The next book I hated, probably the most, I've ditched the order I guess, is Ignite Me by Tahara Murphy. This is the third book in the Shatter Me series. I didn't care for book 1 and 2, but I also didn't actively despise them. I gave them both 3 stars, I believe. Ignite Me, I literally threw across the room because I hated it so damn much. Like, so much. It physically pained me, like, that book, because I hated it so much. And I guess we're gonna go into spoilers, so if you haven't read the Shatter Me series, then just wait till the wherever I put the picture, just wait for the picture to go away, and then you can start listening again. I'll put the timestamp in the description so you can skip it if you haven't read the series. But I can't discuss my hatred of it without discussing spoilers. So, spoilers now. Warner? No redemption in my eyes. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. He was like, I mean, I didn't actually kill that child, so like, it's fine. Like, why are you mad? Like, yeah, I made you think that you killed that child, but like, you didn't, or whatever it was. I don't remember what it was she thought she did, but like, he literally tortured her and then was like, but I was doing it for your own good. And it's like, that's not how love works, my love. That's not how love works. Like, if someone did that to me, I would literally like punch them in the throat. And suddenly, like, literally, he tells her that and instantly she's in love with him. She doesn't even think, like, logically, like, maybe he's lying to me, like, maybe he's not being honest. No, she's just like, oh my god, an angel. He is an angel. And I'm like, bitch, I swear, he's not good for you. He is a liar, he's a manipulator, he's controlling, he's just, it's called toxic. It's called toxic relationships. That's what it is. And the demonization of Adam was just so ridiculous because it was just such a 180. Like, he was a nice guy and then like he's like the villain, and it's like, at least like give them a reason for their massive character 180. Like, literally, Adam and Warner just did a 180 in like 2 pages, and we were just supposed to be like, yeah, makes sense, yeah, that makes sense. Like, no, not today, sister. I could not finish this either. I did get like 2/3 of the way through, so like, don't think I didn't give it a chance. I gave it a chance. It makes me so angry. Like, so angry. Like, I hate it so much. Ugh, literally makes me want to vomit thinking about it, so come at me, shatter me, stands. I mean, if you love it, I'm so happy for you. I hated it with a burning passion. Then I read 2 books by John Green, which was a mistake. Don't ask me why I did it. I thought I should give his older work a go. That was a mistake. I read An Abundance of Catherines by John Green, and I also read Will Grayson, Will Grayson by John Green. They both suck so much, like, you don't even need to know, really. They are just terrible. Will Grayson is racist, homophobic, fatphobic, sexist, every sort of offensive thing you could put in a book is right here, wrapped in this lovely purple packaging. Don't read it. It's horrible. It also has terrible depression rep. It has just horrible characters who are so entitled. I hate them so much. Again, same with this in the entitlement of characters. Also not good rep in any sense of the word. And they were both just trash. See what I mean when I say I don't have much to say about these books except that they are trash. Like, these characters are so entitled. I cannot tell you how entitled these characters are. Don't read them. Like, you may be watching this thinking, it can't be that bad, maybe I'll read it. Don't. It's bad. Okay? Just trust me on this one. They're just terrible. And this one doesn't even have a plot. Like, I don't get why this book was written. It had no purpose. This book, you could change anything about it and like it wouldn't matter, because there's nothing, this book means nothing. That I hate them. Don't read them. They're terrible and offensive. I then also read, this isn't in order so I don't know why I'm saying I then read, but I read Just One Day by Gayle Forman. This is about a girl who goes on this like school trip to France. Yeah, there's an Eiffel Tower in it, so yeah, France. And she meets this boy and they have this like whirlwind romance one day. They like sleep together and then she wakes up in the morning and he's gone. Move on with your life is what you would be thinking. No, she spends years looking for him. Can't move on with her life because she's trying to find this boy she spent one day with. Do I need to say more than that? Do I? And the reason it's so blooming long, it's like literally like so long. It's like almost 400 pages. And so we follow her like so we follow this one day and then we follow her for a year. And it's basically her just whining about the fact that she wants to find this boy, and I'm like, sure, I've never dated anyone, so maybe I'm not a love expert, but this is ridiculous. I don't care how great a person is, you would not spend a year looking for someone you hung out with for one day. No. You wouldn't. You just wouldn't. The next book I hated with a burning passion was Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson. This book was really popular a good few years ago. When was it published? 2011, and it was like massive. I think they made a film about it as well. And I remember my mum reading it and her being like freaked out by it. And I was like, seems cool. But at the time, I was 12, so I was not allowed to read it because it's like an adult thriller. And so this year, I was like, I remember that book. I bought it from a charity shop, and I was like, I remember everyone loving this. Like, I'm in the mood for a thriller. I want something that's like unsettling. Let me try it. This book basically follows a woman who has amnesia and basically every day forgets her life. So like in the morning she has to wake up, learn that she's married, learn that she does whatever, learns where she lives. I think she remembers like her like early life but not like the last 10ish years, I think, something like that. She's got amnesia, she doesn't know, so like she wakes up next to this man who she doesn't know because she doesn't remember like getting married and all that kind of stuff. It was so dull. I guessed the entire plot within 50 pages and it was so boring. Like even though I'd guessed, like, I don't mind reading books where I know what's gonna happen if there's a lot of action and it's like gripping and it's still like interesting and the plot like is engaging. But when I say nothing happened in this book, for 90% of it, I mean nothing happened. I literally had to put the book on 3 times audio speed from my library because I was so bored that I physically couldn't read it because I was so bored. So I just had to like listen to it at 3 times speed to get through it because it was so boring and I was losing my mind. So it wasn't creepy, it wasn't good in any way, shape or form. Don't read it. It was just dull beyond belief and the most predictable book ever. I'm pretty sure you could guess the blooming plot from like the summary. I mean, it was just, I have no idea how this book was so popular. Like, was it because literally no one else had written a thriller in 2011? I genuinely don't understand. And the final book that I really did not like is Watch Us Rise by Ellen Hagen and Renee Watson. This is a book that was supposed to be like a feminist, empowering book. Basically, it follows a dual narrative of, what are their names? Jasmine and Chelsea, and they want to start like a feminist club at this school. They go to this school that's supposed to be like really progressive and really like accepting and all that kind of stuff, but Jasmine had been receiving like fat phobia and racism in her like theatre class, I think it was, and so she was like done with the teacher and everything like that, and so she like was like quit and everyone has to do a club, and so her and Chelsea were like, let's make like a feminist club, and they start this blog, blah blah blah, feminism, which sounds like something I would love because I love feminism and I love feminist books, and I especially love feminist books for teenagers that like encourage them to find kind of like their place within feminism and find their voice and all that kind of stuff. Like, I love those kind of books. I hated this book because Chelsea was the devil. I'm happy to have flawed characters. I rather enjoy flawed characters because it makes me feel better about myself. But Chelsea was, I hated her. She was white, thin, able-bodied, straight. Every privilege basically was given to her, and she was the most moaning person ever. Like, Jasmine is fat and black, and she received a lot of like hate from that, and well, not hate but a lot of oppression from that, and also her dad is dying. But Chelsea feels like she's been oppressed because she's like, models don't have frizzy hair, so I've like never seen myself in media, and I'm like, come again, what was that you just said, Chelsea? You haven't been represented because your hair is frizzy. Try being in a wheelchair, Chelsea, and then try and find representation. You can't. Like, oh my god, like, I really liked Jasmine and I really liked Jasmine's point of view, but every chapter Chelsea was in made me want to stab her. So feminism, yay. And also, I do not feel like they focused enough on queer women as well. I'm happy if a book focuses on a specific subsection of feminism and a specific type of woman, for example like black women, and if it focuses on like the fact that not everyone is an intersectional feminist, and like the fact that, you know, that's hard, it's harder to find your place in feminism. But this book claimed to be about intersectional feminism, and I don't think it talked about either queer women or disabled women or like trans women or queer women of colour or anything like that. So I don't claim to be intersectional if you're not. Like the book like claimed to be like specifically about like all feminists and all women, and it didn't do that either. So I think it failed in a lot of aspects. If you want a brilliant book about feminism and about women, well, girls coming together and finding their voice, read The Nowhere Girls by Amy Reed. It's a fantastic book and does everything this book tried to do but like 10 times better. So yeah, I really did not like this book. But those are all the books I hated this year. You know, to be fair, I read like 180 books and there's only what, like 7 or 8 books on this list, so I think it was a pretty successful reading year, and I'm not too mad about the fact that I didn't like some of these books. Not everyone likes these books, and you know, that's fine. If you like these books, I'm so happy for you. Nothing against you if you enjoyed these books. I just didn't, they just didn't work for me, and I really didn't like them. But let me know down below some of your worst books of the year. It's always fun to have a little bit of time to express our distaste for books. I talk mainly about how much I love books, and sometimes it's just fun to let out a little bit of steam on books that sucked. So yes, thank you so much for watching. It's a new year. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Goodreads. I would love it if you would subscribe and stick around. I would really appreciate it. I love talking about books and I love this channel. So yeah, I would absolutely love it if you wanted to subscribe for more content. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful rest of the day, and